I want y'all to listen to this audio right quick coming from this person named Patrick Howley. I'm guessing that's how is it Patrick Howley or Patrick Hawley? I don't really care how his last name is pronounced, but I want you to listen to this audio. It's only about a minute long, and I'll get into what he says or more explanation afterwards.
Really kind of a train wreck. There was a chick who was co-hosting it, and they said that she tested positive for the Rona. So let's take a look. Last night,
I know all of you were
I don't know who this black guy is who's hosting it. It's supposed to be country music. No offense. I mean, y'all have hip-hop and basketball. You know what I mean? It's like, just fly with your flock, bro. Not against you, but you're up here being like, the melanated people invented country music.
At the CMT,
We was making country music in Wakanda before Johnny Cash and Merle Haggard done stole the black man's country music. It's like, all right, bro. It's so angry. There were so many black people there, sorry to say, but like so many black celebrities who have nothing to do with country music. And it's like, why? No disrespect to the funky brothers of music. I love Earth, Wind, and Fire, Run DMC, etc. But I mean, like, country music's different. Country music's different.
Okay. So y'all just heard from this dweeby, unseasoned, palm-colored buffoon that you see right here in this picture. So the CMAs, one of the many, because I said the Country Music Awards has so many damn music awards. I don't know why that is. It seems like they got like 10 of them. Apparently, according to him, I guess the co-host or who was supposed to be co-hosting was diagnosed with WOVID. And Anthony Mackie, who was the person that was talking, you couldn't barely hear him because this buffoon was talking over it and trying to be funny. And that's his idea of trying to be funny. Then that was just cringe. And Anthony Mackie was just up there talking. And the first thing that comes out of this man's mouth is, who's that black guy? Who's that black guy out there? I didn't know black people would be, come to the Country Music Awards, I didn't know they were allowed to come here. Why are they there? And then Anthony Mackie goes into a spill about, giving the history of country music, talking about how, it started with black people, which is facts because the genre of music pretty much did start with black people. And he's like, oh my God, here he goes talking about country music started with black people. And then he tries to mimic or mock what Anthony Mackie is saying, literally just being a straight up ignorant asshole. That's basically what he was doing. So he went from asking why black people there. Then he's, then he mocked Anthony Mackie. Then he said, why are there so many black people there? Now, if y'all remember a few years ago, and I've talked about this on my channel, Beyonce had made an appearance at the Country Music Awards in which she performed a song called Daddy's Lessons, which was off of her Lemonade album. And then she performed it because the song is a solo song, but she performed it as a duet with the Dixie Chicks. Now, the Dixie Chicks had a reputation of being blackballed themselves because of some comments they made about George W. Bush back in the early 2000s that pretty much stalled their career from there because the Dixie Chicks was like really high up there as far as music. I guess you could say, talent in the country music world in the realm right there. But they were questioning why Beyonce was there because she's black. Now, keep in mind, Beyonce is one of the biggest faces in entertainment is right now. And she was coming off of, the success of the Lemonade album. And they actually questioned why she was there performing that song. And that Daddy Lesson song is a country song. Now, the ratings for the Country Music Awards actually skyrocketed at that portion of the time that she was on there. Not because she was just there, but because the Dixie Chicks were there too, because that was the first time people had seen them perform live in forever. So that was a big deal at that time to have one of the biggest stars on the planet come and do a duet with one of the most known female groups in country music at the time and have them collab. That was unheard of at the time. They said their ratings had skyrocketed during that performance. And then when she was done, the ratings went back down. But people were questioning why she was there. Probably for the same reason this POS is questioning why Anthony Mackie was there. He asked him, who is he? He said, who is he? He tried to make it seem like he didn't even know who Anthony Mackie was. Come on now. If you watch the MCU, which I'm assuming this guy most likely has, you know that who this guy is. If you've never seen anything else that Anthony Mackie has ever done in his career, you definitely recognize him as Falcon. But I guess he was trying to be funny or whatever the case may be. I can tell he's one of the people that's doing stuff like something for attention, because I went and typed his name into Google, and they pulled in a lot of times when you type in people's name into Google, sometimes they'll pull up the person's Twitter, like tweets and timeline, because they do stuff in updated order. And all this guy literally talks about is left is this and left is that, and then mentions, you know, people of color or black people. That's all he does all day, is find a way to talk about black people and then relate it back to something political from the left. That's why I cannot stand Dub S. I can't take them seriously, because whenever they feel like they have to bring up black people, they have to relate it to something political every single time, just so it can give them an excuse to give them a talking point to try to shield themselves of being called racist. See, that's what he's doing. He's like, I'm not going to sit here and call you the N-word and that's the third. I'm going to use code speak. That's why I said Lee Atwater, as trash as he was, that leaked audio about code speak was one of the best mistakes of his life to happen to him before he died. For us, anyway. And many of those individuals who claim to be on the right, or even those who are on the left, they both do the same kind of code speak thing. There, it's just that their code speak might look or sound a little different from them, but it's the same thing at the end of the day. Then he ends off by saying that he's fans of like the Funky Brothers or whatever like that, and then said Earth, Wind and Fire and Run DMC. I guess that was his way of trying to soften the blow. It ain't gonna work, Patrick. And the thing is, I never knew who this guy was until today. And I'll be fine going the rest of my days not ever knowing who this guy is outside of this little spectacle that I guess he made for himself. But something tells me if he pops up again, we can come back to this situation right here. But I need to know from y'all, have y'all ever heard of Patrick Howley before? Because like I said, it seems to me he just has a reputation for putting tweets out such as these onto his Twitter timeline, I guess, to gain attention, because that's a lot of what these dub essers tend to do. They're just seeking and trying to grasp attention. And apparently, and it's like he's trying to grab onto for as much, as hard as, and as long as he possibly can, and trying to get people's attention. He knows who Anthony Mackie is. He knows who Anthony Mackie is. Now, apparently, Monica, the singer Monica, apparently she was there as well. So let's hypothetically say Anthony Mackie and Monica were the only two black people there. In his eyes, that's too many black people at what he deems as a majority white event. That's too many. Or that's the invasion of diversity, because you know they love to talk about the invasion of diversity and this and everything like that. Just them being in the room was too much for him to deal with, or he felt that he had to say something over seeing or spotting one black person, which was Anthony Mackie, at the CMAs, an event that he feels is exclusively white. Y'all, this is the true Dub S right here, and how fragile and weak it is. And this is the so-called superior man that when they spot a black man, they get threatened, whether he's joking about it, quote unquote, or he's being serious. But to be honest, they said there's always truth in jokes. He probably saw the sight of that black man, Anthony Mackie, who, by the way, the last video I did about him was talking about him opening up a studio down in New Orleans. I bet you he ain't going to talk about that, though. He probably doesn't even know. And I'm sure Anthony Mackie doesn't even know who this guy is, and I'm glad that he don't. He doesn't need to know him. He's beneath him. Patrick Howley, Anthony Mackie is above you. You are beneath him. And I wish I could say that to his face. Beneath him. Like, for real. Monica, if she was there, from what I gather she was, she is above you as well. I bet you it's more PC people know who they are than they know who you are. And that right there probably scares the hell out of him. It probably scares the hell out of a lot of PC people in that position when they find out that they're not as known as they think they are. Because a lot of them like to put themselves on a pedestal if no one else is going to do it. So they're going to say things like this in order to get arousal out of people, to see like if it'll be shocking to what he says. Nothing that Patrick Howley said in that audio shocks me in the least bit, because I've heard way worse. So with that being said, he can crawl back into his little hobbit hole, but something tells me this is, I guess he's trying to find the moment where it could be his coronation, where he can step out and then be, I guess, the next Ben Shapiro, as if we need another one of those in the world.